points and some data, but you'll also be able to get it off of NAEP website. But you'll see the data is calculated or categorized into 4 big areas. The first one that you see up on the slide, national public districts, that's the districts in the United States that take this exam. It's random, and they're selected by NAEP. And so that's the nation's average. So 4th grade math, you can say this is a U.S. average. That's the average of these districts. And then there's a subcategory, large city. Those are cities over 250,000 in population. And then each state has their average. So Texas can compare itself to any other state. And then finally, and this is really unique to Houston and 25 other districts, they're called the TUDA districts, the Trial Urban District Assessment. We're one of those 26. That allows us to get our specific data for our district. Same with the other 26. The other districts outside of TUDA don't get the individualized district data. They get state data, they get national data, they get large city data, but they don't get specific to their district. The TUDA districts do. All right, real quick, it might be interesting to know how are schools selected. This is a test that's administered by NAEP. We don't administer it. We help get the kids to the site, the cafeteria, library, where NAEP officials are administering the exam. They select a number of schools randomly. So in Houston, they selected over 100 schools to take this NAEP back in end of January, beginning of February, a year ago. They do this randomly, and then in every school they take a random, they select kids randomly. So they'll select 4th graders randomly to either do the math or the language arts, the reading, in 4th grade math, and then they do the same thing in 8th grade. These are purposely random so that there's a cross-section of students, including special needs students, black students, economically disadvantaged students, Hispanic students, etc. In Houston, they chose 108 total schools, 64 elementary, 44 middle schools. And then just for, I mean, they don't know this, but we know that of those schools that they chose, 30 were NES and 78 were non-NES, or what we call PUA schools. All right, so what are the results? There's hundreds of slides, or there's lots of slides, and lots of data points, but here's the headlines. The headline is that the HISD students have stopped the decline and are rebounding. That's not the same headline that any other district can say, or can say as definitively as we can say, because most of the other districts declined, but HISD moved up. So in the last several years, there's been a decline in the NAEP scores. You probably know that already. We've arrested that, we've stopped it, and now we're moving up in the right direction. In 3 of the 4 assessments, HISD students not only reversed the decline, but now we're back up to the 2019 levels, that means we've regained from COVID loss. Most of the nation has not done that. And then a particular note is some of our subgroups and the amount of growth that we've seen for our black students, our special needs students, and other economically disadvantaged students. Let's see. In the subgroup category, for example, these are 2 data points. Again, you'll get more information, but just wanted to point out that our black students, for example, reversed the declining trend and gained 8 scale score points, And this is particularly important because large city, the nation, and Texas saw a decline in performance, and our students saw a huge growth in performance, our black students. In 8th grade reading, our students with disabilities similarly grew 10 scale points when the rest of the nation and large city districts declined. So that reflects similar to what happened with the state STAR exam last year, where HISD grew incredibly and most other districts declined. This graph right here kind of shows a summary of what happened in this last NAEP test. So we're talking about growth in proficiency, more kids who are proficient or higher. And you can see there's 4 exams here: 4th grade math, 4th grade reading, 8th grade math, 8th grade reading. And the 4 categories I talked about earlier. HISD is on the left, that blue bar. I think on the slide it looks grayish maybe. Yeah, the teal colored bar. And then the gold colored bar is the nation's average, national public districts. The green one is large city, and the blue one is Texas. And you may recall a year and a half ago when I was talking to not just you, but the people here, parents and staff, I talked about NAEP. And I said that the nation's here, Texas is very close to the nation, large urban districts is here, and HISD is here. So to see us reverse that trend and close the gap is really satisfying. 4th grade math, the whole nation did pretty well, right? There's increase in proficiency, that's good. HISD had the greatest growth. But in 4th grade reading, we grew proficiency, not a lot, but 4 points is quite a bit when you're talking about NAEP. Since, by the way, prior to COVID, the nation as a whole only grew about 2 percentage points in 20 years for 4th grade black students. So to have the reading go 4 points up is incredible, while the rest of the country went down. 8th grade math, we grew a little bit, as did the national public and large city. Texas didn't grow, remained flat. 8th grade reading, we went up well above the growth of the nation, which went down, actually. So summarize here, the summary is that we reversed the trend, which was a down slope. Now we're moving up. And we did much better as far as our increases in scores relative to large city, relative to Texas, relative to the nation, which I think is a testament to, which I think, is that better? Which I think is a testament to our teachers and our students and our principals. Last thing I'll say, and then I'll open it up for questions. A year ago when we got this, well, 8 months ago when we got STAR results, and they were really good, and our accountability was really good as a result, I said 1 year is not a trend make. I also said that despite the growth, we still have a long way to go. And so now I can say we're adding up the data points now, guys. It's not just 1 year, and it's not just one test. Our NAEP is in the right direction. Our NWEA MAP assessments, that's a different assessment. We reported out at the beginning of the year. We're going to report out at the middle of the year. We also had that exam at the end of the year last year. Those are all in the right direction. We're making gains, pretty significant gains. So it's not just STAR, not just NAEP, it's also NWEA. So we're starting to see a huge trend of improvement of proficiency in this district. I will repeat, though, we got a lot of work to do. It's only been a year and a half. We've got way more work to do, and you're going to see our teachers really focus and our kids making gains this semester and hopefully into the future. Who has the first question?
Superintendent Miles, on that screen right there that I'm looking at, this HISD communicates significant growth. You're at an 8, and it shows the national average for large cities, as well as national Texas. So, to get to the average, right, there seems to be higher numbers and lower from what we all know in terms of civil liberties.
That's right.
So were there larger cities that perform better than Houston and what we're seeing there? And is there a ranking that kind of shows where Houston ranked in comparison to large cities?
That's correct. So you're right. That's an average. So we're beating the large cities on average. And out of the 26 tutor districts, on any given test, we're not at the very top. We're close to the top in most of those as far as growth. So I think with regard to proficiency, your analogy makes sense, right? Because it's about proficiency. With regard to growth, we beat, I think there's not one tutor district that beat us in growth for math. We can check that data, but.
And the other thing was the test under 2020, were too old to 22?
January 23,
Right.
end of January.
Previous tests from 20 to 22 that actually showed where HISD was at?
Yes, if you. January 24. Thank you. Sorry, we're already in 25. The answer to the question is yes. If you go online, you'll see going back to 1998 or something like that.
Superintendent Miles, since this test was administered, more campuses have gone NES. Are you seeing any indicators that the positive results that you see in this particular test have accelerated with the expansion of NES campuses?
Yes, is the answer. Both on the STAR exam last year when we had 85 schools, looking at the growth, again, not just pure proficiency, NES schools outpaced the non-NES schools, although all schools did, the whole district did well. We're looking at NWEA right now. That's a different assessment. I know this acronym soup here, but NWEA MAP is a progress monitoring assessment we use. I just reported out to principals the preliminary data, and we're going to give it to you all in a week. But we're seeing the same thing. Good growth across the district, NES outperforming the non-NES a little bit more than the non-NES. So I think we can say there's good correlation between the work that we're doing both as a district and NES to these results here on NAEP. I'm eager to get the next NAEP results because they'll be even better, I think. Can you ask the question, the question again? Yes, so after COVID, the whole nation took a hit and lost proficiency. Not just a year ago, but since 2019. And we reversed that trend. The question is, what was the particular focus, or why did that happen? And it happened because this district had an intense focus on the quality of instruction. We've trained teachers well, we've trained our principals, and we put our efforts in the right things, and we did it systemically. So it's not any one program, it's not any one thing, it's whole-scale systemic reform, especially a focus on the quality of instruction. Thank you, Margaret. Yes, again, we have some of the best schools and highest percentile ratings in the nation for some of our schools. So their proficiency level Some of them are at the 80th percentile. I think HSPVA is at the 98th percentile or something like that, meaning of achievement. So our NES schools are not those schools. Our NES schools are the ones where the proficiency level was lower to start with. Now we're closing the gap, but we have not closed the gap, and it's going to be a while. So the answer is yes. We're talking about growth versus proficiency. Although the NAEP is talking about, the chart you see is about proficiency, moving that bar for HISD. Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, to gain. Here's how I picture it, right? We're going down for several years in a row, and so now all of a sudden we've reversed that trend. We've stopped it and then moved up. Have we moved up all the way back to get that 8-point back? No, not yet. But there's something to be said for the district and the kids and the students who are able to stop this decline and start moving back up in the right direction. What can we do? We can continue to do what we're doing right now. I mean, give us a little bit more time, and like I said, I think the next NAEP is going to be even better. Focus on the quality of instruction. Make sure you have high-quality instructional materials. Make sure those materials are being used effectively, but most importantly, making sure that every day, every teacher is effectively delivering high-quality instruction.
Superintendent Miles, we appreciate you answering these questions. I have a few questions about last year's budget. As the senior budget officer, which you are, sir, we're hoping that you could just address the $2 million that was spent on the bond election for the hiring of consultants.
Thank you for that, but that's another time, another place. Right now, we're focused on NAEP today and the achievement. And so you'll get your time when the time is right. We've answered a lot. Right now, we're focused on NAEP, guys. This is the big story. We don't spend enough time talking about the successes of our kids. We don't celebrate that. And we don't talk about HISD in context. The NAEP is a national assessment, and we have lots of other challenges, just like other urban districts. And when we do that much better than others, the questions that should be asked are why, like you're asking, and what does it mean for us going forward, which you've also asked. So that's what we're going to focus on. If anybody else has any other questions related to NAEP, I'll answer them in the back.
You mentioned that there was a huge trend for the proficiency. Kind of talk about some of the challenges you guys are seeing right now, and what are some of the courses or the curriculum that teachers are using to try to get students ahead and stay ahead?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So, look, I've said this before. It's really difficult this day and age to get student achievement. That is why you have the NAEP scores over time. That's why last year's STAR exam, every large district in the state went down, except for Fort Worth went up a little bit, whereas Houston really outpaced them. So it's really tough, and all the things that have to happen to get high quality instruction, that is the answer to your question. I mean, I could take a long time to answer that, but basically it comes down to how effective is that teacher, how's the pace. Grade level instruction is really important. So when kids are behind, most districts, most schools don't give them grade level instruction. They want to meet the kids where they are, which is down here. We don't do that. We meet them up here with scaffolds. So that is the real challenge, and it's tough work. Other challenges are, we have a workforce that's pretty mobile, that are working towards certification in many cases. We have an increase in student absenteeism, across the nation, and many other challenges like that. We have other distractors that are impinging on our kids, including social media. So it's a really tough thing. So I'm very sympathetic to the other districts that are not seeing as much success. But we know what we have to do here. We're going after it, and we're getting results.
Superintendent Miles, none of us here in the media are,
Go ahead.
none of us here in the media are professional educators, but we are parents, a lot of us, and we hear this concept of teaching to the test. What kind of guidance or clarification can you give us that actual learning is going on versus teaching to the test?
Yeah, thanks for asking. That's an important question. First thing to say is NAEP is not teaching the test. We don't even, we don't have access to the test. We don't practice it. It's a state, it's a well-secured test. So there's not much you can do to teach to that test in the nomenclature. The second thing to say is this: that phrase, teaching the test, has always been misunderstood. What people really don't want is for us to teach the actual question. What educators want is, yes, only test kids on what you taught them. It's ridiculous to test them on things you haven't taught them. So we teach to the standards, the TEKS, Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, the objectives, and that's what we teach to. And some people call that teaching the test. That's incorrect. We don't give them the actual questions or the problems. We teach the objectives. And so I think parents can be comfortable in knowing that on any sort of assessment, whether it's STAR, NAEP, NWEA, DIBELS, anything that's nationally normed and a valid, reliable assessment, our kids are doing well on. So we're not like going frenetic and teaching to this and teaching to that. That would be crazy. So the fact that our kids, if you can read, you're going to do well on STAR. And if you can read, you're going to do well on NWA. And if you can read, you're going to do well on NAEP. So parents can be rest assured that we're not teaching to a test, we're teaching reading. That's why they're having success on multiple indicators. Last question.
When we talk about student achievement, is there any way to address the elephant in the room and how that stress might impact future test scores? And I know y'all don't want to go into details when we talk about the concern. Is that being factored into how students perform in terms of like immigration?
So I don't want to get into something that's going to take a lot longer to explain, but let me say this. Go into our schools today. I go into schools every week. I was in Hartman and Bonner yesterday, and watch what the kids are doing. Watch what the teachers are doing. The kids are not stressed out at Bonner or at Hartman. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't things that happen in our lives every day and other policies or anything else that give us pause. I mean, there's lots in the world that stress everybody out, including our kids. But as far as the educational environment goes in our schools right now, go into the schools and you'll see the kids are thriving. It's 176,000 kids, 10,500 teachers. Somebody's stressed out sometime every day. So you're all going to be fine. There's one person. But the climate, you're going to be able to feel that. You're going to be able to see when kids are giving the best education possible, they thrive. And it actually diffuses any other stress that's going on in their lives. Same with the teachers. When teachers see their scores come back and they know that their work is being validated and they're doing it to a great effect, they feel much better about it, and it diffuses the stress in the school. You can't talk about, if they still have stress at home, that's hard for me to measure. But I know what's happening in the schools, and the kids are thriving, and the teachers are doing a good job.
Mr. Miles, as the senior budget officer for the district,
Okay. Yeah, we're done.